You're listening to Reza Riffs with Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
So you're being recorded. Hey, Alan, I thought you were going to bail on this one.
No, I had to go to the restroom.
Yeah.
And, I was all ready to go, and I had to do a little thing with my hair and straighten up my shirt because I'm a little bit fashion conscious since I've known you. I looked at some old pictures and I reposted us in one of our.
You're on the Facebook Live.
Yeah, good. I reposted an early picture of us
with Angelo.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did you see that?
I did. We should have Angelo back.
You looked so fucking hot. You were trim. I was God, what a look you had, and it was sexy. I don't know what the fuck happened since then.
Yeah, COVID-19 happened.
Let me tell you. Did you see that picture of you?
I know. I looked good. I was a young, handsome bro.
I don't know what you are now.
I'm like a.
You're like a 30. You're like an aging. You're like a. Listen, bro. I've lost a lot of weight. I've wait till you see me. Oh, you're too skinny. Yeah, let me tell you something, bro. You can't be too skinny or too rich.
Right.
Don't forget that.
Well, hey, I'm going to start going to the gym in a couple of weeks. I'm going to start losing weight.
I'm the nutritionist, bro. You know what you need to do? See this right here?
Grow the beard?
No. You got to shut the mouth up and not order fries, and all your problems will go away. No gym.
Holy Lord. You're pretty mean, man.
No gym.
You're pretty mean for...
No, it's not. You know how I lost this weight? You're not going to believe this.
What?
I slept.
What?
Not touch fries, bread, spaghetti, and I slept the weight off. Someone said, a girl, I swear to God, these women are 100% right. She said, I don't do exercise. I said, oh come on. No, I've heard this before from actresses. And you ask them. You ask Heather McDonald. Dude, it's not, you don't have to do exercise. What you need to do is shut that opening in the middle of your face and stop shoving carbohydrates into it. I'm just saying it. I'm just telling you.
All right. So I'm fat. You made your point.
I should take my shirt off.
No, keep your shirt on. No.
I want to show you something.
Hey, you made your point.
No, I'm going to make...
Alan Lee. This was the first video one. You want to
do for the guest who's skinny, by the way.
I know our guest is here.
I'm going to take my shirt off. He'll agree to. In fact,
hey,
I'm sorry, you here?
Oh yeah,
how you doing, Mr.
He's
Doyle?
not here yet. We got introduced him.
Hey, Mr. Doyle. I hope you were listening because I'm trying to make a point, and I know you agree with me.
Wait, he's not in yet. Alan.
Where is he?
I haven't. Should I accept him in with it? We got to introduce him though. You kept on talking about how fat I was.
I started, and you won't even let the guest in. I don't know what's going on.
All right, today Richter's our guest. Is Kevin James Doyle. He has a new stand-up special out called The 30-Year-Old Virgin, out on Comedy Dynamics, and it's on Amazon and Spotify and iTunes, and we're going to talk to him about it. Are you ready to meet Kevin, Alan?
I certainly am. Are you?
All right. Well, rock and roll.
No, he's got a great show in New York, and I was born in New York, but we left when I was a kid, a child.
I thought you were born in Texas.
I grew up. I thought you knew that in my bio already. I was born in New York, and I grew up in Texas.
Well, it says Kevin's here, but I don't see Kevin. So maybe. Oh, there's Kevin.
He wants to get the fuck out of here.
Hey, Kevin James Doyle, how are you?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. This is Alan Lee, the trusty sidekick.
Awesome. Hi, Alan. How are you?
Past tense, Kevin. I'm not trusty anymore.
He's a little too trusty. He was just telling me how fat I was for 5 minutes.
Come on. Let's not bring up personal problems right now. Because I said that Kevin is in shape, and I've lost 20 pounds. I'm on the ketosis.
Oh, nice.
Keto diet. You know the keto diet, Kevin?
I haven't done keto. I know how it works though.
Okay, I was trying to tell my partner here about it.
Basically,
It's,
he said I need to stop eating Snickers.
No,
Yeah.
the tons of French fries that some people eat.
I do whenever I try and lose weight, I always do the slow carb diet. Do you know how that works?
No, what is that?
It's basically eat meat and vegetable and beans and
Yeah.
some nuts, but it's like avoid any like bad carbs, and it's actually
Thank you.
uh-oh.
You're right.
It sounded
you're
like
right.
The Exorcist.
Don't check
The
yourself. You're talking about a fucking diet.
No, but you sounded like The Exorcist. Ah.
Yeah, I think the mic, something happened with the mic. But yeah, it's good because you can eat like Mediterranean, like there's a lot of good stuff you can eat. So whenever I do that diet, I don't have to worry about not eating a lot. I can still eat tons of food, just the right kinds,
Yeah.
I see you're drinking a LaCroix. That's like a sparkling water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many out there now with so many flavors. It's wonderful.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
Kevin,
Well,
you have a new stand-up special called The 30-Year-Old Virgin that was released a couple weeks ago on Comedy Dynamics. Tell us about that.
yeah, it's a stand-up special, my first one, and it's stand-up. I've worked on it, like in comedy shows over the past, however many years, and then when I stretched it out into a fuller thing, it kind of tells a whole story. So I grew up in a Christian home. I was saving sex for marriage, and I got engaged, and I broke off my engagement a month before my wedding, and I was living in New York City, a 30-year-old virgin. And so it shows about that, and then it kind of takes you through to quite an interesting ending of a show that I people seem to enjoy, laughing at the pain. So
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't know what it's like being a 30-year-old virgin, but like I remember I was 19 and I couldn't get laid. I was like, when will it happen?
yeah, it's funny. There's been some women that have seen the show, and they've just been like mentioned. They're just like, I've never met a guy who's not like totally down to have sex if it's available. So it was interesting, all the girls that are just like, yeah, that's usually been me being like, I don't want to have sex, or I want to wait, or not like not so yeah, I mean, it was a unique experience.
And you said this is your first comedy special. So how long have you been doing stand-up? Because I've been doing it for a while, and our paths just haven't crossed, maybe because I'm in California and you're in New York.
Yeah, I've been doing comedy for about 10 years now.
Wow.
I've been in New York the whole time, and I first started doing stand-up, just doing open mics and some stuff, and then I started a stand-up show with my friend Corey that was just in a basement in the East Village, and then I started doing a few times I've done the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So I feel like the New York circuit, and then the circuit of, there's a number of comedians, LA and New York, that go over to Edinburgh Fringe, but yeah, I actually I was listening to episodes of your podcast, and you just had on Alex Hooper. And,
we love Alex.
Alex and I graduated college together. We both went to the same college.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, we were in theater school together way back in the day.
This fucker didn't go to that one because he had work.
We all have a day job. When not all of us, can survive as you do, Keith. I do have needs. Needs.
What's your Alan? What's your day job?
I'm a substitute teacher in LAUSD. I work the hardest, and I have stories. I got material. I work South Center, Watts, and and the kids are great. They're great.
Yeah.
It's the staff that sometimes sucks.
Right now, my day job is cameo.
Cameo.
That's great. That's a good job.
I make $5 a day if I'm lucky, so I could buy a Le Cave drink.
Oh, fun.
Oh man. So what's the New York scene out like right now? Is it with the coronavirus? Is it like scary or is it winding down?
I feel like it's not scary. It was definitely scary in April. I mean, in March and April, like it was pretty freaky because
Right.
I think even then, like we weren't sure how deadly the virus was. So people were, and there was literally just, every 5 minutes there'd be sirens outside the door. So it was pretty wild at that time. Now people are kind of, wearing masks, being as safe as they can. There's outdoor dining. So there's, I think people realize you're not going to get it from like walking past somebody. And so for a while, it was like people were just like, oh, like if you ran into someone on the sidewalk or something or turned a corner, people would be like, oh, oh.
Yeah.
And now it's a little more chill, but I think we're bracing for a very long winter.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a second wave about to come that people don't know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like, at least in LA, you can put a jacket on and hang out outside in December and January, but it's going to be rough here. People are going to have some major cabin fever. So
how is this like, because I released my stand-up special a couple months ago and it seems like it's been very hard on like press and shows to promote it because nothing's going on. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's been, I have nothing to compare it to. So it's like, there's the advantage of the fact that people want new shit to watch. Right. And then the negative part of being like, like I would love to have a big release show and then I'd love to get out and tell, but so I feel like the positive part about having a special on streaming is, that people will still be able to find it, like a month from now, a year from now.
Yeah.
And so I feel like instead of being bummed about it, I'm sort of like, all right, this is the reality. And the reality is like, you can promote it as long as it's up there. So right now is going to be a little weird. I will say that the response has been really, like a lot of people have been checking it out and just through my personal network. And I've been like, tell your friends. And then they've told their friends and it's gotten out of just my normal network of people, which, because some people will message me on Instagram or whatever, and that I don't know that are like, I watch your special. So I feel like I'm hustling as hard as I can and figuring out, how to get anyone to watch it,
Yeah. It's gotten a lot of good reviews on Amazon Prime. I watched a little of it last night. And
cool.
Hilarious, man. And
Thank you.
Yeah. But I was wondering, because like my friend wrote a movie and the movie was supposed to get a theater release and then this whole thing didn't. And he just feels like so bummed and stuff. So like, it's kind of like, I feel very narcissistic for saying this, but it's kind of nice that it's happened to everyone else. You know what I mean?
No, I think you're right that it's like, like literally whoever directed, I don't know, there's like Christopher Nolan right now is like, no one's seen Tenet, like he's sad and I'm sad too, so it's sort of like you're in the same boat, getting to be like, hey, Christopher, me and you, we ain't so different,
That's what I'm trying to say, man. No one's seen Tenet. It's so weird because I actually do want to see it, but I'm scared to go to the movie,
I know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's weird. Like, it just sucks as people that like, part of the reason why I started doing theater initially and then comedy was like, I love movies. I love TV. I love all the things. I love video games. I love everything. But my favorite thing is live performance. And so it's like, it's such like a horrible thing for the thing that we love to do, which is like, all I want to do is get people in a room and hang out and like have a good time.
Yeah.
And so it sucks. I have a lot of friends that are musicians down in Nashville, and
Oh,
they literally their lives already were kind of screwed when streaming took away album sales. And they're like, oh, okay, at least we can like tour the country, and we got to work harder on tours to make up for the lost money that we used to get from album sales. And then this is gone, and they're like successful musicians without any way to make money. And so it's, you know, it's just sucks.
It kind of makes you thankful that you're a comic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a
Yeah.
musician they have to feed however many people are in the band. We just have to feed ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our manager
Yeah.
only wants the 10% when we're working.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to work on stuff for, you know, as much as I can for when things are back to normal. And it's been nice having this out to, like, you know, feel like you're doing something. But yeah, it's weird. It's a weird time.
When things come back, like, are you going to start booking a tour for this special? Or like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I went to Fringe in 2017 with this show, and then I went in 2019 with the new show, and I was planning on touring that to promote this. You know, it's like, if you like this, here's like my new show, and so hopefully once everything's back, I'll take that show on tour, and then hopefully, you know, some people that saw this will be more prone to want to like see my new stuff. So I have like a whole show that's like pretty much finished that just needs like tightening and stuff. And, you know, I'd like to do it like, you know, 30 to 50 times and then film that whenever coronavirus is, you know, kind of done, or when I can get back to touring, you know, hopefully in the spring, or, you know, so spring of next year, I'd like to. That show's called Loud Blonde Bald Kid. So.
Oh, cool. How long have you been working on that one?
I got really good advice from a friend, and they were just like, don't wait for your special to come out. Just like work on new stuff. And so I started working on that not this past February, the February before last. And I filmed this show, 30-Year-Old Virgin. And then a month later, I booked a theater in the East Village and started doing this new show, because I had like enough that it wasn't brand new, but and so I spent last year working on that, and then I took that to Edinburgh Fringe, and then I did a little tour, and it was kind of nice to sit it down, because now I thought I was ready to film it, and then now that I think there's like 20 minutes that I don't really care about, so I think once I get doing it again, I think I'll like take the 30 to 35 minutes I love, and then just kind of have like another half hour to build. And yeah, it's basically about middle school. And I have a diary, a journal that I found that I kept when I was in middle school. So with some very embarrassing but relatable stuff. So I kind of have a lot of stories from that time and read from that. And it's a really fun, funny show that a lot of people relate to, that it's like, oh, we were all dorks back then, you know?
So you said that you have a journal, and that's what this show's about. Do you like read through it and think, oh my God, I actually wrote this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's horrific. I've done the show like 60 times, and every single time I'm just like, oh gosh.
It's like,
people laugh, you know, it's like, you know, it's nice because the audience feels the same way, but not when I'm embarrassed from my journal, they're not like, oh, it's so embarrassing what you wrote. They're thinking like, oh, that's so embarrassing what I remember, what I would have written or whatever. So
yeah. I just think it's very funny. You're going through it and you're like, Miss Needham likes red apples. And then you're like, who the fuck was Miss Needham?
It's far more embarrassing than just red apples, that's for sure.
Now, Alan had a question about your improv, because you also do improv, and Alan is an improv genius.
You know, I don't do improv. I do some other stuff.
Oh.
I only took one improv class way back in the day, and I didn't do it. So
I
yeah,
was commenting on your show about New York, and you have a female partner.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I made the presumption that was kind of like a UCB, well, like Brownlings and SNL, and it had a narrative, obviously, and it's very
Mhm.
popular and successful. And you're talking obviously about New York City, and to me, it had a sketch comedy element in it. I know it's not like straight improv in that sense, but the interaction you two have, uh, I felt, you know, it had an element of improv. Then that was my take.
Yeah. So that makes sense. That show is called How to Be a New Yorker,
Yeah,
and I wrote
I think it's
that.
great.
It was so much fun, and Olivia actually is like one of the funniest improvisers in New
Oh,
York. She's
I
and she
sense
does.
somebody was doing some improv in there.
Yeah, she. It was there was like a path I remember because I took a UCB improv class, and
Oh, for
then
heaven's sake. Here you go.
and then I did stand up once, and it was difficult because there was like 5 people on stage when I'm taking
Yeah.
the class, and someone would bring something up, and in my head I'm like I don't want anyone else on the stage. I want to just say exactly what I want.
Yeah.
But Olivia is a brilliant improviser, and she does a show called Shamilton, and it's a improvised rap musical that they do every Saturday night. And I saw her do one that was she did one with like it was like the biography of Tiger Woods rap musical and some really funny stuff. But she's one of my best friends and really brilliant comedian. And yeah, that show we did off Broadway for like 300 or 400, I think 400 shows
Wow.
in New York.
Nice.
It was amazing. It was super fun.
Wow.
Great.
Now, Kevin, we have a Twitter question. Kevin, what's it like being named after a comedy idol?
I had direct TV call one time,
Uh-huh.
and they were like, they were like, they're like, you can upgrade your system and have 10 more channels for blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm okay. And they're like, all right. And then at the end of the call, they were just like, can I ask you a question? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, are you the comedian? And I was like, yeah. Oh, yes, I am. And they're like, man, I love the Zookeeper. I love Paul Blart. I love Kevin Conway. And I was like, oh yeah, no. I had a feeling no one would know me. And but yeah, Kevin James. I actually there's a Kevin Doyle who's in Game of Thrones. He's like a British actor, and so when I had to join the actors union, I couldn't be Kevin Doyle, and so I was like, oh, I'll go by Kevin James, and they're like, you can't be Kevin James, so I have to be Kevin James Doyle
That's
because
cool.
because I had to because the actors union, and people still sometimes will just be like, oh, Mr. Three Names, like, they forced me to.
Yeah. But what are the odds on that there's a Kevin James and a Kevin Doyle that are successful too? You know what I mean?
I know. I have a hard road ahead of me. I feel like I'm third in line to be a successful Kevin. But yeah, no, it's funny because a few years ago when he did the TV show Kevin Can Wait, all my friends would like text me pictures of it, and so I just took took my face and then put it on his face and posted on Facebook. I was like so excited, like, for my new show Kevin Can Wait on CBS. And I just did it real quickly, and then I went back to my phone like a day later, and I had like 4 Facebook messages from like friends from high school that are just like, we're so proud of you, man. This is amazing. A bunch of people thought it was serious, and I was like, they're gonna be sorely mistaken.
Right.
But yeah, Kevin James, dude, do you watch his Boom Mic guy?
No. What's that?
He does this series on TikTok that is so funny, and I like Kevin James. Like, I've never been like a huge. He's not necessarily my style of comedy, but obviously he's brilliant. He's super successful and been in tons of stuff. But my brother-in-law kept on texting me and be like, you have to watch him in Boom Mic Guy. And what he does is he'll go to a scene in a movie, like if it's the coin flip scene in No Country for Old Men, and then he'll have the person talking from the scene, and then it cuts back to him, and he's like the boom mic operator on the set of that. So he like re-edits them, and it's really, really funny. It's like one of the funniest like web series type things I've seen. And it's it made me an even bigger Kevin James fan.
Yeah. I thought Kevin James is because like he got popular with the Queen of Comedy or the Kings of what's that show called?
King of Queens.
King of Queens,
Yeah,
right? But I felt his best performance was in Hitch.
So good in Hitch.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, this guy I actually like. You know?
And when he has to learn how to dance, very good scene.
But can you imagine that could have been you?
I know. Why did this interview have to take such a negative turn? Now I just have to think about how it wasn't in Hitch the whole time. Come on.
So you're you're writing some new stuff right now, and then you're like getting ready to get back out on the thing. Are you scared about these social distancing shows that they're going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable doing an indoor show right now. I'm especially just before Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm planning on trying to see my family, and I kind of mentally, I think I feel like I'm gonna open up the idea of live performance indoors. I'm gonna thinking about for the spring.
Right.
Also, there's this. I'm planning on doing some outdoor shows in this cool garage out in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and it's a really cool space. And so I was planning on working on some stuff to do some outdoor shows because I think those have been really cool. And I think like being outside, it's like the safest with COVID and everything. And I think it's been cool as a comedian to adapt to learn, I don't know, to be in a weird situation and still make people laugh. Like it's not ideal, but it's good. So I think like adapting to those weird things or not having a microphone or like being in a park, like, you know, they're not the best. It's not going to be forever, but I feel like those are just kind of helpful if you can make people laugh and be confident in those spaces. It's just going to make you better when it's back to regular. Go ahead, Alan.
They had Shakespeare in the park.
Exactly.
So you're
exactly.
Do you do Shakespeare in the park, Kevin?
I did one when I was in high school or in college.
Oh, how was that?
It was hot.
Yeah.
You forget about that when it's like you're just like sweating and you're in like old English clothes, being like, "Wherefore art thou?" And then you're just like in your head, you're thinking, "I'm hot."
I saw this movie called Shakespeare in Love once, and I gotta tell you, I didn't buy it. Yeah. Like, whatever. Anyways.
What part of it didn't you buy?
What was I gonna say? Oh, do you like talking because with this whole indoors thing, there's this new app called Stereo. And what it is you could try jokes with random people on the thing. I was wondering maybe you want to try that if you like doing that.
Yeah, I've done a few online stuff that's been fun. I've been doing like a talkback series for my special with some like authors and stuff, and it's been cool because that hasn't necessarily been stand-up, but we're doing the conversation with other people in the Zoom, and it's cool because you can hear them laugh, and then you know they do a little Q&A. But I don't know. Have you guys done jokes on Zoom? I feel like it's got to be a little tough.
Alan, why don't you take this one?
Through two dykes walk into a bar. No, and one says, "Are we on Zoom?"
And the other one says, "Quack."
Yeah. Okay. Very good. That's excellent writing. No, I think I love the idea of YouTube. these singers that are having their own mini concerts, like that clown, that Puddin, that clown, the singer. He's all dressed up with a white face, and he did. You know what I'm talking about?
Kiss?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, he does it, basically out of his apartment, and then he puts curtains in the back and all this stuff, and he has his own little mini concerts. I have no problem with comedians doing that. There was a lady here in LA that had very successful comedy shows in her garage and in her apartment, and she only had one corner before COVID, before all of this, right? And it was amazing how many people showed up for this. I mean, it was unbelievable. Her whole, I mean, she had her kitchen with chips and soda and all this, on one end, and in the corner there was the light and everything, and her apartment was just packed. It was just crazy. It's like, I'm just saying, we're creative. It's a coming thing, with or without COVID. In my opinion, we're going to be performing just as we are now, and as lazy as I am, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that CNN guy who got fired because I guess he was like masturbating on Zoom on a call? Did you hear about that?
I did hear about that. I've read some of his books before.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't know the guy, but I know of him.
Yeah, I don't know the guy either, but I'm just saying, I think Zoom is pretty scary if you're losing your job now.
Well, you have to understand that you have to do something that would cause that to happen.
I'm just saying, Alan's an attractive guy.
But also, I'll say this, that he was the first person to do it, but so he's going to take the heat, but now it's going to be normalized to masturbate on Zoom calls, and the people after that will be way more okay with it. I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, to me, it wasn't that creative because CK had already done that.
But he never did it on Zoom.
It's still not that creative.
I will say this.
Oh no,
it's
go ahead.
Weird. The thing that I thought about with that is I was like, man, it sucks working. As much as people thought working from home would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if masturbating at work is 100% off limits, and then you never work from home, well, it's not the same as going into the office and jerking off in the middle of in the middle of the meeting, And I was like, it sucks. The people, when I heard about that, I was like, dude, what are you doing? You're insane. But I was also like, man, we shouldn't be working from home. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're not supposed to be working for the New Yorker in the same place that if that Zoom call wasn't happening, you would be jerking off. I don't think I've had a hard time working from home because I like walking out and going places, or else at the end of the day, my brain goes nuts. And so it's I would never do what he did, but there was part of me, I'm like, man, working from home sucks. And that's just another example why working from home sucks.
It's kind of like when Pee Wee Herman got in trouble for being at that adult theater. It's like he was at an adult theater.
Yeah, and Fred Willard. Remember Fred Willard got in trouble?
Oh, yeah.
Fred.
Great Fred Willard.
Such a classy guy.
And funniest dude ever. And it was funny. He was so I forget what his defense of it was. Fred Willard was like, sorry. He was just
I actually met Fred Willard, and I gotta tell you, how when you meet people where you just think, oh my God, this is just so you can't believe the negative that's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fred was the nicest guy, and this was after what he did. And he saw my stand-up, and he was like, hey, you're really funny and all that stuff. He was just so encouraging. You know what I mean? So
he's one of the funniest. He's one of the first people that I ever laughed at, because I saw A Mighty Wind. I don't know when A Mighty Wind came out, but
oh, really?
And
that's Chris, what's his name, right?
Classic.
Yeah, Christopher Guest.
Yes, yeah.
And his his scene where he says, "What happened?" He's like, he was in a sitcom back in the day called "What Happened?" And I remember when I was a kid, I saw that, and it was the first, like, it was literally like magic. I was like, this guy's the funniest. Everything he says is funny. And still, like, I think he's probably on a short list of people that I'm like, every single, just looking at that guy makes me laugh. If he was in my family, I think it'd be hard to take him seriously because he'd probably get sad and mad like any other human. And I feel like I would not be able to just take him seriously. He's just so funny, everything he says. So huge Fred Willard guy.
Yeah. I went to the Yard House with him because he's good friends with Norm, and I used to tour with Norm. So we went to the Yard House after the show, and he ordered fish tacos, and people were walking by, and they're like, "Who's that guy from?" And then the waiter was like, "Anchorman."
That's funny.
So
that's awesome. Dude, Norm Macdonald's the best. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't work with him anymore, but you know, that was just a Fred Willard story I was trying to get for your enjoyment.
I enjoyed it very much.
It's not as good as the Mighty Wind. I'm sorry. But
Oh man.
Kevin, so your talk show that you're doing, is it like something you're doing weekly, or is it just something you're doing when you feel like it?
I'm just doing like 5 or 6 of them, just to, based on like 2 of the authors. I just did one with the Candace Bushnell, who wrote Sex and the City, the original Sex and the City book, because my show's about sex and the city, and we talk about what it's like for her to like. And then I talked with another author who wrote about like Christian purity culture. And then I'm doing one with Natalie Palmides, who is a LA comedian. She's a kind of clown sketch improv comedian. So I'm trying to, and she did Edinburgh Fringe the year I did it. So I was just trying to choose people that kind of like coincide with the themes of this show. So I don't think it's something I'm going to do regularly, but I'm going to do like 5 or 6, and it's been fun. It's been fun to like, if it was showing in a movie theater and we went up after and like chatted, it's like kind of like a talk back after a movie type deal. So I'm just doing a few of these. I have a few more coming out with this author named Linda K. Klein, and then one with Natalie Palmides.
Oh, well, that's cool. The most important thing is doing something to have fun with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's sort of what this talkback series was just like a way for me to get to hang out with these people I respect.
Yeah.
You know, it was basically like, I like this author and I like this comedian. I'm going to ask if they'll do this event with me so I can hang out with them for an hour, you know, and then, you know, which is good. I feel like at this point, that's the most important thing. Like you said, it's like doing things you enjoy, because that's what ends up making something good.
Well, one last question for you, and then we'll go into the wrapping up segment. But who's one comic, living or dead, that you could just hang out with?
Like that I'd want to, like a hero?
Yeah.
I would say, boy. Do you know Daniel Kittson?
Daniel Kittson?
Kittson, Kitson.
I know. No, is he like a producer or something?
No. Okay. I should probably say someone who's more known, so people are like get excited by the answer. But Daniel Kittson is. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant.
All right.
And he's like. My mind was like super open when I went to Edinburgh Fringe, because, you know, like in New York and LA and America, there's like improv and sketch and stand up. And, you know, when I went over there, it's not that it's better. It's just like they have a completely different culture of comedy. Mm-hmm. And this guy, Daniel Kittson, just his shows are so funny and so like philosophical, and so like he's just incredible. And he has hours and hours of material that he doesn't put out. Like he doesn't do anything on television. He doesn't do any TV shows. All he has is like his shows he does every year. And so it's weird because he's like one of the most respected comedians over there, and like no one knows who he is because he doesn't attempt to even he doesn't even like have a film special out anywhere besides like on his website.
Right.
And it's kind of like, and there's no interviews with him. So it's funny because it's like the less you know about a person, the more you want to hang out with them. I'm like, man, I would love to ask him a question, but there's no interview where he's like, this is my process, or like, this is what I was thinking. And so it adds to, I think, the mystique of him. But he started, even through COVID, I think he started releasing more old shows just to have something to do. So he's put out a few albums on his Bandcamp, and I listen to those, and they're just like, they're some of the best comedy I've ever heard. And his name's Daniel Kittson. I would encourage anyone to go check him out.
Well, if I ever interview him, I'm going to be like my friend Kevin James Doyle, he's a big fan of you. And then he'll be like, I love Kevin James. I was like, well, he loves you too, man.
Wait, I want to ask you a question. I was looking at your podcast, and they all have the same. Do you do the timestamps the same time on purpose?
Yeah.
Do you know about? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
It's an Asperger thing. I have Asperger's. So,
dude, I saw it and I was like, so wait, how long does this interview have to be for us?
Well, if it's over, I'll trim it to 40.
That's so funny. So they were 40. When did you decide to go from 106 to 40?
When the guests started to hate me. The longer I talk, the longer I talk, they start to get annoying. I'm like,
Dude, I have to say that's one of my favorite things I've ever seen on a podcast, that all of them are the exact same time.
Oh.
It's so intriguing and so funny, and I love it. It's my favorite thing.
Oh, well, we love you, man. Where can the folks at home follow you and buy your special, Kevin James Doyle, the 30-year-old virgin?
If you can get Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, all of those places you can rent it. And now it's on Spotify and and Pandora, those places as well. So I'd love for people to watch it. If you want to listen to it, you can listen to it. It's filmed beautifully by my friend Corey directed it, Corey Cavan, another comedian. So I'd prefer if you watch it, and that's on Apple TV and Amazon Prime and all of those places.
All right. And where can they follow you? Like, do you have a website, Twitter?
Yeah, Kevin James Doyle. My full 3 names, Kevin James Doyle. That's my Gmail. That's my Twitter. That's my Instagram.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love how you throw out your email. Now you're going to get a whole bunch of emails.
I know. I've said that a few other times, and I haven't got one yet, and I feel like I'm playing with fire.
Oh, well, this one, you're gonna expect some, especially if they really like you, they'll stalk you, or if they really hate you, they'll stalk you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's the thing about stalkers.
It's like,
they do it if they love you.
That was the one last question I had for you. Who would you stalk if you could stalk anyone? Would it be Daniel?
No, if I could stalk anyone, I would stalk my younger self.
Yeah.
Go back in time and stalk my younger self and freak him out. And then I'd get to this age, and then I'd be like, it was me the whole time. And
go back in time and be like, hey, you should really change your name because people are going to think you're Kevin James.
Yeah. Hey, kid, change your name. People at DirecTV are going to think that it's the comedian from The Zookeeper.
Well, Alan, you got any last questions for Kevin?
No, I appreciate you coming on. You're a blast. And I will say that do you have any links to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle of Sherlock Holmes? I've never been, I can't remember anyone I've known. And I grew up Catholic. but I'm Buddhist, and I didn't run into a Doyle, a Father Doyle. And it's interesting that you're one of the first Doyles I've, much less, with a 3-part name. And so you have no link to Mr. Arthur Conan Doyle?
I don't know if I do, but I did play my first acting job in New York, professional acting job. I played Sherlock Holmes in a children's musical.
Oh, Lord. What was that like? Did he solve the case?
It was a children's musical, and the case was, is it red or is it blue or is it yellow? And we did the show like 170 times, and like the first 5 shows, I'm like, I'm a working actor, and by show 12, I wanted to blow my brains out. Like, fucking sucks.
This is not the life.
Yeah, and all the Sherlock Holmes lines, like the actual Sherlock Holmes, it's like these great stories, and this was like, let's get out our colors and our magnifying glass. And I wanted to tell the kids, like, this case fucking sucks.
Oh, that's good.
You don't need a great detective to figure this shit out, you idiots.
Oh, man. All right, Kevin, we got to go, man. But I love you. And when you're in California, we should hang out. Or when I'm in New York, we should hang out.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. This is awesome. And when I'm in California, we'll meet up for sure.
All right, Kevin. See you later, buddy.
Awesome. We'll see you, Alan. See you, Reza. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. That was Kevin James Doyle. Oh, he's still here. Awesome. That was Kevin James Doyle, guys. Subscribe, rate, and review to the show. That was a blast, wasn't it, Alan?
Listen, I went to a party, and I just got off work, had a little coffee, and I'm awake. What a wonderful energy! What a sweet guy, and funny guy, funny guy, and yeah, I know. I thank you for getting him. It was a hoot, and who knows? We'll run into him again. And if we go to New York, or I go to New York,
you go to New York all the time. You said, "Hey, you got his email."
That's right. It's an easy one to remember too. And,
yeah.
But I probably will go back. I know it's going to be weird for Thanksgiving. And I don't know. How it's gonna be.
All right, Alan. I got a notification saying the Zoom's about to end, but everyone should buy a Kevin James Doyle's stand-up special, The 30-Year-Old Virgin. And you should subscribe, rate, and review to Raise the Riffs. Tell a friend. And that's all. All right, buddy.
All right, buddy. Later.
That was good.
It was very good.
Yeah. Okay. How do I do this?
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.